Hello, my name is Bret, and I'm a candidate for the Masters in Educational Technology program here at Boise State University. I didn't always want to be a teacher, and in fact, I wasn't sure I ever wanted to be a teacher starting out when I was growing up in Oregon, but my mother had different ideas, and she always thought that I would make a great teacher. Perhaps mothers really do know best. After high school, I went to college for my first year, and with no real direction about what I wanted to do, and not sure what I wanted to do. I pursued a variety of jobs and careers, but have also changed career paths either through my own choice or because of circumstances beyond my control. To make a long story short, I've served a mission for my church. I've been a U.S. Army paratrooper, a repo man, a bouncer, a barkeep. I have a degree in criminology and have worked in a juvenile lockup facility, done private and corporate security, and have worked with children in foster care who were placed there either through the Division of Family Services or through juvenile corrections. After all this, and from my experiences working as a scout leader, I finally decided to give teaching a try. I worked as a teacher's aide while attending night school to get my teaching certification, and eventually started working in a behavioral disorder unit at a middle school. After getting my teaching certification, I started out teaching in a 5th grade classroom. After a year, I moved to teaching 7th grade science at a middle school, and I did that for 5 years. I was always at the forefront of using technology in the classroom, whether it was purchasing and using a digital projector before they became available through our district, or creating online locations for students to access classroom information. I was always trying to push the limits at my district. After teaching science, I decided I wanted to have even more impact on how students use technology in the classroom. So, I created a proposal to present to my principal to teach computer applications and a computer programming class to 7th, 8th, and 9th graders at the middle school. I experimented with creating essentially a flipped classroom before I really knew what flipped classroom was, or that it was becoming a popular buzzword in education. Early on in my teaching career, I worked as our school's technology facilitator for the district and started regularly attending NCCE conferences. Since they were usually held in Seattle or Portland, they were easy for me to attend. It was at one of these NCCE conferences that I first met Dr. Chris Haskell. One year speaking about copyright and fair use, and another year when he spoke about using Facebook in the classroom. We started communicating about education over the years, and at one of these conferences I spoke to Dr. Haskell about my experiences with online education. I told him that I was thinking of pursuing a master's degree and had taken some online coursework through other universities, but I had not been impressed with how distance learning courses were being designed or really implemented. He suggested I look into Boise State's EdTech program. I did, and I've been very happy that I was led in that direction. I started my coursework at Boise State and eventually took a new job also as a technology specialist within our school district, helping teachers to find new ways to incorporate technology into their classroom practices. During my 2 years as a technology specialist, our district adopted a new learning management system. We adopted a new web conferencing system for school administrators, adopted a one-to-one laptop computer solution for all secondary students, 3-to-1 for elementary, and I had the opportunity to be the tech advisor for our school district's first STEM-focused high school. I have now returned to the classroom to teach a CTE pilot course targeted at the middle school level as opposed to the high school level. It's called Gateway to Technology. The 2 classes we offer so far are Design and Modeling that works with CAD software, and Robotics and Automation, which works with Vex Robotics and Robot C programming. As mentioned before, I tried doing some online coursework through other universities, but did not find the experience to be in line with good teaching practices. Fortunately, I very much enjoyed the work I've done through the Boise State EdTech program. As I tell people who are looking to try distance learning, The EdTech classes at Boise State really practice what they preach in setting up an environment that promotes good learning practices and a sense of educational community. There are many classes that have stood out for me as classes that I have enjoyed and have had a strong impact on my teaching practice, but I will narrow this to just a few. EdTech 502, Internet for Educators, was very important to me because it supplied me with the fundamental understanding needed to make effective websites and an awareness of what must be considered, from palette color selection to checking for correct coding to web accessibility features. This class helped me immensely as I created 2 websites that I used quite often for teaching 7th grade science, and have passed that website on to other teachers to also use. One site was a virtual field trip to Mono Lake, where students would study the ecosystem and the food webs there. The curriculum provided a video of Mono Lake for students to watch, but the website virtual tour facilitated differentiated learning, allowing students to explore Mono Lake, the nesting birds that resided there, the life in the lake water, the alpha predator in the area, and the amazing tufa towers that the lake is known for, all at the student's own pace. Since our school was still using VHS tapes at the time, the web virtual tool was an excellent addition to the curriculum. Another website was a web quest that I created, giving instructions on how to make scientific drawings. In the past, I would walk students through the process by using a document camera as I demonstrated the steps to creating a scientific drawing. This was great for the whole class in general, but again did not differentiate for those students who needed more or extra content to help process the information. Creating a WebQuest site that walks students through an introduction of what they would be doing, define the tasks that they would be accomplishing, guiding them through the steps of the process, and also showing students how to evaluate their own work was very useful for many students, and also helped teacher colleagues teach an aspect of science that they were not necessarily familiar with. EdTech 523, Advanced Online Teaching, was essential at the time since I had recently taken a new job as a technology specialist within the district. In the class, we learned how to teach in a video conference environment, the hallmark of synchronous online teaching. Teaching other students how to use various web conferencing tools, both synchronous and asynchronous, and teaching other topics by using those same tools. This impacted me greatly in my professional life since our district moved from using a Viper video conferencing system for administrator online conferencing to using Microsoft Link for all of their online conferencing needs. It fell to me to design and implement the training on showing all district and school administrators on how to use Microsoft Link, and doing so by using Microsoft Link to conduct the training. This was highly successful, and what would have normally pulled principals and assistant principals away from their schools and down to the district office instead was conducted during 3 different online training sessions where administrators were able to choose which session they wanted to attend and in the comfort of their own offices. This training was also recorded for asynchronous training later on for any administrators who were not able to attend any of the live sessions. EdTech 532, Educational Games and Simulations, is the final class I will discuss. Perhaps it is because I'm a longtime gamer, but I must admit I think that this was the class I was most excited about. Even with being an experienced gamer, I was a little surprised at some of the personal insights I had while using Dr. Haskell's GameLab software, which put the students in the framework of gameplay while completing the coursework. Now, I was surprised at how motivated I was to complete tasks, as the competition factor kind of kicked in when I would notice the points my peers were receiving and the extra badges they were being awarded, and all from a graduate level as opposed to just kids. I was surprised at how engaged I was. I was also surprised at how little stress I felt while working through the coursework. Because of the point system and the leveling bands, I knew exactly where I was in completing the requirements for the course and whether or not I was on track. This has had a great impact on my perspective of how to teach my class. Our district is in the process of moving to a standards-based grading format. One of the most difficult aspects for many teachers to grasp with this is learning to grade students on their performance and not on their behavior. It seems like an easy thing, but many teachers get stuck in the mindset of all students performing tasks all at the same time and having it all turned in all at the same time, thinking that this is somehow applicable in the real world. What usually ends up impacting a student's grade has less to do with their understanding of the topic and more to do with whether they had turned in the assignment late or ended up not completing the assignment at all. With game-based learning, students have more control in what and when they complete assignments. I try to implement these aspects of game-based learning into my curriculum by helping students prioritize completion dates. If students are working on an assignment that has a team component, then due dates for those situations take priority, because other students are counting on their collaboration, whereas other due dates are more fluid and may be completed as students are able to best manage their time. This, I think, is more applicable to a real life and real world situation. I also try to implement game elements in many of my assignments by having students compete either individually or as small groups. Some elements of game-based learning are difficult to implement with our district's current grading paradigms, but this is a systemic problem that is not uncommon in the way the educational system works in, I think, most school districts. And it will be and could be a long road in changing some of these practices and perceptions in how we do our grading. It is game-based learning that excites me most in the possibility of creating projects that I could do on my own time and would supplement or even supplant curriculum in the future with games that enrich and engage students and their learning process. Games like the ones I began designing for EdTech 532, a physics engine game where students play a hero robot in an apocalyptic Las Vegas using the themed casinos to learn and show proof of their understanding of the fundamentals of energy, simple machines, and motion. Perhaps one day I will be able to make this game a reality, along with many other ideas that I have. There is no doubt that the time I've spent in the EdTech program will have an impact on my future. Whether it's in the skills I acquired and needed to enrich my classroom with interactive and engaging digital content, or in using the knowledge I gained to pursue a career in the private sector in support of education, or merely in effectively teaching a variety of subjects on digital video sharing sites that align with some of my own personal hobbies, I will always be glad that I chose this EdTech journey at Boise State University. Thank you.